Yeah, I think our producer, Ben Kudo, actually does have a question for us this week. We love answering these things. So our producer, Ben Kudo, I think is going to come on and give us a question about from one of the viewers here on the show.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, guys. Actually, this week, I've got the questions. So we didn't have any viewer questions this week, so I wanted to check in with you guys. I was wondering what's going on with the Celtics bench. Can you tell us, I've been wondering, when are we going to see Taco Fall start throwing down, and what's going on with the bench, and what can we expect from the rest of the year? But you guys, great show. I'm going to fade out and leave you guys to it, but take care.
That's a great question, Ben. I'll start this one off. I think my biggest take from, and the Celtics have been struggling before their win last night against the against the Nuggets. They were 5-10 over their last 15 games. Now, some of that has to do with, Kemba Walker still working his way back into the lineup. I know people are sick of hearing that, but it does take time, especially for a little guy with a sore knee. So we got to let him kind of ease his way back into it. Jason Tatum was out a couple of weeks with COVID. He's still feeling the effects of COVID. Jaylen Brown's been a stud. Thank God for him. And now you've got, Tice has been out. Marcus Smart's been out for a few weeks now. And now you have some rookies that have to be major contributors, like an Aaron Nesmith now is getting some time, and he actually played okay last night. Peyton Pritchard's been great when he's been out there for most of the season, but he is a rookie. He's not going to be there every night. One of the issues the Celtics have right now is that they have too many, average kind of bench guys. They've got Semi Ojeleye, Carson Edwards, Peyton Pritchard, Aaron Nesmith. Whether you start Tyson Thompson, the other one's coming off the bench or not. Then you have Robert Williams. Then Ben mentioned Taco Fall. And then, Romeo Langford, who was their first-round pick last year, is still injured. He's going to come back probably after the All-Star break. Then you still have Marcus Smart, who's got to come back. So you have, 6 or 7 guys that don't even start that get minutes for this team. And I think some of those guys just don't know when they're going to play. And when Stevens sees all those guys on the bench, it's hard to have a second rotation or a good way to sub guys in when you have so many guys that need to get out there. So I think what the Celtics need to do is make a deal at the deadline, even if they don't use that trade exception, which, depending on who you want for the Celtics, you might not want to use it this year. I know people don't want to hear that. I know Celtics fans don't want to hear that. But if you don't have the guy that you think is going to win you a title, why use that trade exception this year when you can maybe use it in the offseason or next year to get that player that you really want? But if you trade a few of those guys, I actually posted something on Twitter, I think at Bill Simmons. He didn't tweet it back at me, obviously. But I put it in the ESPN trade machine. I posted some of the guys that I just mentioned and traded for Thaddeus Young. So you're trading 5 guys for Thaddeus Young. The salaries match. And then he at least putting some players, getting some players out of there and bringing a guy in who can bring some toughness, some scoring off the bench, some rebounding. He's not going to help you win a championship, but I think he'll boost your bench and actually give you some toughness and scoring that you need.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of great points, honestly, Pat. I mean, shows how much you know about basketball and how much you really. I'm serious, because those are some obviously great points. And I think the biggest one that you're saying is, they still need some time to develop as a unit coming back. Like you said, Jason Tatum having COVID, Kemba coming off the knee injury, Marcus Smart being out, like you said. So they're really starting to, the key players learning to play with each other again and kind of get back in rhythm. So I think that is huge. I'm still standing with that this team is going to get it together after the All-Star break. I've been saying it for weeks now. So I think we still need to give them some more time. But I think you bring up another great topic with that. I think they do need to make a trade. I think they do need to make a trade to get a big man. I think Tristan Thompson has been a bust. I mean, Daniel Tice is pretty much our only big man that has been playing good. And to bring up what Ben says, I think Taco Fall needs to boost himself up in the offseason, gain a few more pounds, eat some more tacos, man. Eat some more tacos, hit the gym so he can be a dominant player, because with the height that guy has, I think we've seen it a few times. They just get him the ball and he just dunks it. So he could really turn into a dominant player, protecting the rim, rebounding, and just throwing it home. if he could get a little bit more on his frame so we could put up with guys like a Dwight Howard underneath that is just going to toss him around like a rag doll. But I think so. I would like to see them make a trade, and I think it's for a big man. And Thaddeus Young, maybe he is the guy. But I don't know, man. But I would like to see them make a trade. I would like to see them make a trade for a big man. And like you said, we have plenty of depth on this team, so we should have plenty of pretty much trade bait to pretty much make a move. And to more of your point of basketball and as a coach, sometimes it's a lot easier when you have a smaller rotation to be able to play it when you're only just playing about 8 guys, 3 guys off the bench, and you 5 starters, compared to having like 10, 12 guys. And you got guys over there crying about playing time, and you can't get them all in. Remember, there's only 5 on the court at one time. So I think you brought up some great points. But let's just give this team some more time, and let's see what they do after the All-Star break.
I know Celtics fans, we're impatient. We're used to winning. You know, these young players, Brown and Tatum, were so successful at the beginning of their careers that we just expect this team to be a championship contender every year. And while they have 2 of these top players, you know, they're still trying to grow. They're still young. And then you have the surroundings. A lot of the supporting players are still young. Like I mentioned, Smart's a veteran. Kemba Walker's a veteran, but it's just second year with the Celtics, and he's coming off an injury. You know, Tice is a relatively inexperienced player for the most part. Been there a couple of years. You know, the one thing I think they're missing with Tristan Thompson, I thought Thompson, I didn't expect him to be a good offensive player. He's never been that guy. Very good rebounder. I figured he'd rebound a little bit more than he is right now, but maybe that's just because, you know, he's still new to the team as well. It's going to take some time. I thought he would be that veteran presence that they need on this team. Thompson's been in the league for a while now. He was on a championship team in Cleveland. He's also seen the lows of the league when he was with Cleveland, you know, the last couple of years when they were not a good team after LeBron left. So, you know, I wish that Thompson would be more of a vocal player in the locker room to say, hey, I've won a title. This is how it's done. And we need to tighten things up here, because they're kind of missing that guy. The Celtics rely so much on Tatum and Brown to do scoring, to be 2 of their top wing defenders, to rebound, to be facilitators. And you also want them to be the leaders of the team and the veteran presence when they're kind of not those guys yet. You know, Jaylen Brown is very smart. The leadership he provides off the court is huge, but he's not a totally rah-rah vocal guy. Tatum's a little more vocal, but he's not necessarily that, you know, that big voice in the locker room that they need. So I really wish Thompson would be that guy. But yeah, I think they have way too many guys. The thing with Taco Fall, throw him in there for a couple minutes. You know, I mean, I don't think he can play 15, 20 minutes a game, but throw him in there in there for 2 minutes. It's weird for teams to play against him. He's just this big, huge guy in the middle of the floor. And when he does get in there, he's a shot blocker. You know, he can kind of carve out space in the paint. So just throw him in there for a couple of minutes, see what happens, and maybe change things up a little bit. Maybe to give some guys some rest too if he's getting in there during certain games. So. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Like I said, let's give them some time. They'll come together. Yeah. Certainly a lot of options for Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens, and like we said, maybe a few too many for them right now during this time of the season. But folks, once again, thank you for joining us here on Comeback Sports. Give us a subscription on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. You can see our Twitter handles at the bottom of the screen right there. And send us emails and send us questions. We'll be happy to answer them. We will see you next time on Comeback Sports, folks. As crazy as it sounds, it has been a crazy sports time. Even though NFL is over, there's still a lot to talk about, so make sure you come back every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. here on Comeback Sports. That is Brandon the Coach Perry. I am Pat the Shot Caller Flaherty. We'll see you next time, folks. Have a good week.